Good morning. My name is Allison Gallagher. I'm the Executive Communications Officer for the Long Beach Police Department. Thank you everyone for joining us here today. Chief Hebish will provide an investigative update to the May 9 murder that occurred in the 2200 block of Lewis Avenue. He will be joined on stage by Councilwoman Suli Saro, who is the council member where the incident occurred, as well as Homicide Lieutenant Eric Fernandez. On behalf of the police department, we'd like to thank our mayor, Rex Richardson, city council members, and our community for all their continued support. With that, I would like to turn it over to our Chief of Police, Wally Hebish.
Thank you, Allison. Good morning. Thank you all for being here today. I'd like to start by expressing my deepest condolences to the families of the victims. What you've gone through is devastating, and I'm happy to be here today to provide you an update on this violent crime. I know this is an extremely difficult time for all of you, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate you being here. On May 9th, an inexcusable act of gun violence resulted in the loss of a young boy's life and endangered the lives of 2 other children. We were all impacted by the murder of Eric Gregory Brown III, a 12-year-old boy that had his life cut too short. Our entire community has felt the impact of this crime, and detectives have demonstrated an unwavering focus on solving this senseless murder. They've spent countless hours investigating this case, and as I've said many times before, our police department will continue to use all legal resources to prevent crime and bring closure to victims and families of those impacted by violence. This case was no exception. Detectives leveraged technology, including automated license plate readers and security camera footage, to gather critical information and identify those responsible for this crime. Through their hard work and the work of many others, I'm able to announce that 2 arrests have been made in connection with the murder of Eric Brown and the attempt murder of the 2 other children. The first suspect, Rashawn Struther, a 20-year-old resident of Cypress, is currently in custody on an unrelated charge. He'll be booked for murder today. The second suspect, Destiny Cherie Scipio, a 21-year-old resident of Long Beach, was arrested on Wednesday evening by our detectives and subsequently booked for murder. There may be additional suspects, so as a reminder, this investigation remains ongoing and active. A $25,000 reward remains in place for information leading to the arrest and conviction of any remaining suspects. We believe this incident stemmed from an earlier gang altercation not involving the victims. The male arrestee is a documented gang member. The female arrestee is believed to be his girlfriend. The victims were not gang members, and we have no reason to believe the victims knew the suspects. This incident was devastating for our entire community, and as a father, it pains me to think that anybody would think so little of a life, let alone the lives of children, that they'd commit a crime like this. I take solace in knowing that our detectives found and arrested these suspects. I'd like to thank all the officers, detectives, and professional staff for their assistance in this investigation. I'd also like to thank and commend the lead homicide detectives, Michael Hubbard and Jesus Espinoza, for their admirable work throughout this investigation. They lived this case and have represented this department with compassion and professionalism. We'll be working closely with the District Attorney's Office to ensure that the victims and their families get the justice they deserve. Thank you again to our Mayor Rex Richardson, all of our Long Beach City Council members, and our Long Beach community for their ongoing support throughout this investigation. With that, I can answer some questions, and I also want to remind you that this investigation is continuing and is active. Thank you. Questions?
Can you spell the names of the suspects?
Sure. I think those are in your press package also, if you want to pick those up after, but give me a second and I'll spell them for you. The male arrestee, Rashawn, R-E-S-H-A-W-N, Struther, S-T-R-O-T-H-E-R. The female arrestee, Destiny, D-E-S-T-E-N-E-E, Cherie, S-H-E-R-E-E, Scipio, S-C-I-P-I-O.
Chief, the information on them which led to the suspect on this one, like, this is, video evidence, this is information, just tips that you guys got, nailing it down, how did it go?
So it was a variety of things. In it, as I mentioned, the use of technology, the use of automated license plate research, hours of video that were scoured by the detectives, and all the additional information that they gathered at the scene and afterwards. So a variety of sources that helped lead them to this point today.
You said apparently, you know, a gang incident that happened not unrelated to the victims themselves at this point.
That's no. I said, yeah, not related to the victim. Correct. Yeah.
Was there, you know, any way that gang officers were critical in tracking who these people were and narrowing down the list of suspects on that?
The entire Special Investigations Detective Bureau helped with finding these suspects. That includes our gang detectives, our homicide detectives, patrol officers assisted in their initial response. It was a collaboration of this entire department and our community and city as a whole.
The evidence that you've recovered, was there any conversation between the suspects and the victims prior to the shooting, or did they just open fire out of nowhere?
So that's still part of the ongoing investigation in terms of what was said or if there was any interaction between the two. At this time, we believe there's nothing that indicates that the suspects knew the victims.
And no idea on motive at this point or what set this off?
As I mentioned, we believe this is probably gang-related, but no specifics on that, and related to an earlier altercation.
But the victims were not related to that gang?
These victims were not gang members. These victims are children in our community.
Weapons recovered at all?
That's still to be determined, and that'll be included at the conclusion of this investigation.
Do we think the girlfriend of this man that was involved in this thing, was she in there actively delivering him to the scene, getaway driver, something along those lines? You're still putting that together?
Still putting that together, part of the ongoing investigation, and that information, and I ask that you bear with us, that information will be disclosed at the conclusion of this investigation. We still have a long way to go. There's still the process of working with the district attorney's office, and our detectives have worked nonstop since the day of this incident to get us to this point today.
Is there anything that leads you to believe there may be any other suspects of this particular?
We believe there are other outstanding suspects, and we ask the community to bring forward any information that you may have that can lead to the arrest of anybody responsible for this horrific crime.
Do you believe there was more than 2 individuals in that vehicle?
I can't comment on it at this point because I don't have that information, and we're still looking into that part of the investigation.
And are these suspects looking at 2 attempted murder charges on top of the murder charge?
I believe the charges that will be included in the press package that you receive. The actual
Were there
charges.
any priors on the girlfriend who was arrested?
The girlfriend, the female arrestee, has a prior violent criminal history.
And can you tell us what the male suspect was already in custody for, or
The male suspect was in custody he is in custody for attempt murder, and I would defer those questions to the LAPD press information officer.
It's a separate case?
Separate case, not related to this crime. Any other questions?
anything you just want to say about the community and sort of moving forward now that 2 suspects have been arrested, the work that your department will continue to do to keep people safe and make sure stuff like this doesn't happen?
Absolutely. That's at the heart of what we do in the city of Long Beach as a community, as a police department. The foundation of what we do is community policing, working with families, working with neighborhood associations, working with our city partners, our council members who have been so supportive throughout this entire investigation, looking at ways to invest in our youth to ensure that they have opportunities for success and we don't have to be standing here again talking about a similar incident. As you can imagine, there's several people who are parents and who can feel the pain that this family is experiencing, and it's important for us to be here, recognize, and acknowledge that we are with them and continue to stand with them and support them.
Will any of the family members be speaking today or reacting to the arrest?
I don't believe so, but that's not something that I'm focused on right now.
How old are those individuals?
The male arrestee is 20 years old. The female arrestee is 21 years old, I believe. Okay. Allison, thank you again for being here with us today.
All right, everyone. Thank you, Chief Hebish. That concludes our press conference. Details and a replay of this press conference will be available here shortly. We'll be providing the names and the information of the suspects, their booking photos, some photos provided by the victim's family. Thank you for joining us, and if you have any questions, me and my staff are around to answer any further questions. Thank you.